How is the material? Are you getting it done? Some people still need to do a bunch of stuff. I keep the modules open through next week.
The test review, yeah.
Yeah, let me go share the screen with you guys. Hold on, let me see.
I don't know why it's not opening up on my phone, but
Yeah, it's funny. It does open on mine. I'm not, but who knows all that stuff.
technology, huh?
Yeah, exactly. But if can you see my screen?
Yeah.
So if you go to test one and open that, it's right there, test review.
Oh.
And my computer is nice and slow. And there is the test review. And then it goes to a different window. That's the Dropbox window. And it should come up here. Yeah, and so if you, in terms of the test, if you have that document in front of you, but this is everything that you really need to know for the test, I think. Yes, and a little bit more. This is pretty much your, if you make flashcards, Brad and I were talking about it before. This gives you the flashcard right there. This is sort of my shorthand for, the whole topic of all the topics that we talked about so far.
Okay.
One other time.
I have a question for you on your final. Is the final going to be cumulative, or is it going to be from the last to the end?
Let's talk about the test, unless somebody has more questions about the material, but we can go back to that too. So all my tests are sections. So the first test covers module 1 to 5. I'll open that tonight or tomorrow morning. And then the second section covers muscles and bones, which is, I think, module 6 to 12. I just published that, so that's available now. And then the last test covers from the heart to the end. Not a cumulative.
Okay, good.
That'd be a lot of material.
A lot of vocabulary.
Yes. And the test tomorrow, since we're at it, is true, false, multiple choice, and that's it, actually, those 2 types. In a multiple choice, there is only one answer per question. So it's not like some of the quizzes where there's multiple answers. And it's 55 questions, and I give you 75 minutes to do it. And you can use all the material you want. Obviously, I can't control what you're using at home, but I think you should, make use of all the stuff you have. But I do believe, first and foremost, the test review that I put up here. So if you have that document in front of you when you do the test, I think I expect everybody to have a full score. Does that make sense?
The test is available from tomorrow
through Sunday.
Through Sunday, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I extended it through Sunday. So we start, tomorrow, I think tonight, probably, tomorrow morning. I just wanted it after the class. You can start taking it, and you can take it one time, and you have 75 minutes from the time you start. So make sure you have some time to do it. You can't stop once you start it. That's like a regular testing class.
Okay.
Yes, Brad?
It's Saturday, though. It's Saturday.
No, I changed it to Sunday. I changed it to the 20th.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I figured, what's wrong with me? Why not? Change it to Sunday. And then, Elise, you have a question? I see your hand up.
Yes, will we be able to see our score right after, like we do with the quiz, or no?
The answer or the score?
Our score, like whether we
should be able to see the score right afterwards.
Okay.
If you don't, just shoot me a text and I'll look in the background. But I think the way it's done, you should be seeing it right afterwards.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Ilan?
On the test that we took for the tissues, I had a hard time with 11. Is there any way you could talk about it a little bit more?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you not
No,
allowed?
absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Is it this one? Connective tissue? Okay, so let's see. Connective tissue organizing station is largely done by different types of fiber. Three main type colors is most common. Extensible, flexible kind. What is the flexible bind called?
I mean, I eventually got the answer, but I was struggling with it. And I wasn't sure if I just didn't understand it or I don't know. I tried my best.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Let me see if I can pull up the chapter there.
Okay.
Whoa, can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
So were you confused in terms of the different fiber types?
I thought, to be honest with you, was all three at first. And
Okay.
then somehow I went back and was watching your lecture again to make sure that I understood the question.
Mhm.
And I don't know, I was just struggling, going back and forth, and then reading this, and I'm like, I know I got the answer, correct. And I just kept
Right,
getting
it's
it
in the
wrong.
word, right? The answer's in the word for that one.
Right.
Right, but it is, when we look at the three different types, you have like an Achilles tendon on the back in your heel, that strong tissue that makes you be able to stand up or stand on your toes. That's very strong. That's like cable strong. Versus an ear that you can bend and it goes back to the original shape. That's a different quality. And the fiber type gives the tissue that quality. And the third that we really worry about is the reticular fiber. And that's sort of a meshwork type fiber type that creates, a material where things can get stuck in, like cells can live in there and things can sieve through and get filtered, like in a lymph node, for example.
Okay, thank you so much.
Of course. The hydrogen bonds that I was talking there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So see this here? There's a water molecule. So you have the oxygen is a little more negative and the hydrogens are a little bit more positive. And so that creates an attraction between the negative and the positive of different water molecules. You see that in this picture right in here. So you see how the red ball and the blue ball come together? So that's the red is the oxygen and the blue here is the hydrogen. So that positive and that negative of two different of the water molecules attract each other a little bit. And that creates a very weak bond, a weak attraction. You think of a magnet. It's a weak magnet between different water molecules. And so the different parts of the water molecules attract to the other water molecule. You still look confused.
No, once you said that it was polar, and I know that means that it's not equal, then it made a little bit more sense. But without that, I was confused.
Yeah. No, I get it. Well,
so no, I'm good. I'm good now.
Okay, good. Yeah. I'm
Thank
sure the test review can be somewhat, to some level, a little confusing because I try to narrow it down to the least amount of words. And so if you have a question about that, as it comes up, shoot me a text and I'll see how I can clear it up, because this is all just my language and there's certainly nowhere to be perfect on that front. My interpretation. All right, so good. So we covered 1 through 5. The test is next week. But see here, we're already starting module 6 and 7 that is also due on Monday. When we open those, this first one you guys don't see because that was for class. But starting here, we have the introduction to the skull. Then we got a quiz again that we do. We already know how that works. And then here, we're going to have labeling and coloring exercises. So the first tab on that is just explaining what we do. And here I got a link to the term list 1. You all have the term list 1 in your package. In the package that was the health package, the health kit. On the other side, you got these 2 packages with words on top, and then behind it are pictures. So the first one is the one we're talking about. So if you want a second list, you just click on this link and it goes to the same list. You just print it out again if you want to, or if you misplace it or something. And then after that, we have the first section of the skull. We have the labeling exercise, and actually it should be saying labeling and coloring, because I want you to label the terms from this term list onto a picture of the skull. And you have a picture of the skull in your system, in your packages, but you also have an electronic form if you want to, and it looks like that. Can you see it?
Yeah.
What you want to do is you want to take the terms from the term list 1 and you label, for example, this is the frontal bone, this is the parietal bone, this is the temporal bone, and then you also color them. And then, like in the frontal bone, as you go deeper into it, it talks about the glabella, and the glabella is a piece right here in between the eyes, and so you label that as well. So those are landmarks that I want you to label, and then you just color the area around it, so I know, oh yeah, I recognize that's the glabella. And then here, embedded in Canvas, but also bar-coded on the exercise sheets, are the videos that I made about these different bones and muscles. This section 2 is all about bones and muscles. And so we start with the skull, we go to the facial muscles, and then we go back to the skeleton, we go to the axial skeleton, which is your spinal cord, your trunk. We talk a little bit about joints. Then we go to the arm and to the legs, and then we go into muscle. We have a section on physiology, which is how muscle works. And then we go to the trunk muscles, and then upper extremity and lower extremity. And at that point, we have the second exam. And the second exam will be, I point to structures and you tell me what they are. That's it. So I have made videos and taken pictures. And for example, you will have your term list with you, and I'll point to this structure here, and I will say, what is this landmark called? And you tell me that's called the glabella, and that's it. So it's a very different test. It's not multiple choice. It's not true and false. It's just matching what I ask you with a name from the list. There's a couple more things when it comes to muscles, for example, and to bones to some extent. In the back of booklet 2 and booklet 3, you have these barcodes back down in here. And these barcodes give you access to, like the middle one on the bottom is a flashcards, muscle flashcards. So that's just blank sheets of paper with muscles drawn on it that you can cut out and post on a flashcard, and have that way make yourself a flashcard system. So you don't have to draw every muscle. So that's helpful from that perspective, I think. And then on top here, I have 2 different types of cadaver videos that I've gotten and modified and cropped and then posted up on Dropbox. That the first one gives you sectional. So you have a video that you can download and watch on Dropbox that talks about the whole skull, that talks maybe about the whole pelvis, the whole shoulder. Those are quite detailed, but they will give you information down through Bio 2 class if you take that anatomy class, and if you don't, but you're still interested, it's very interesting. And in the if it goes too detailed, you just watch the beginning of the video, and that pretty much covers the stuff that we are talking about. As it then comes to muscles, I have another cropped area with muscle cadaver videos that talks about every single muscle and then some that we talk about in class and shows it on a cadaver. So that's something we do when we are in class. We go to the cadaver lab and we look at those, talk about those on the body. But the videos at least give you some idea. And again, these are not mandatory to look through. These are just things, if I don't mention it, they get unnoticed and then we glance over them. And then when we further get into muscle, I also think you should check out these other two tabs. One of them muscles are gonna come up in a few weeks, but one of them is a chart that I made that talks about all the muscle groups and the muscles in a fairly simple explanation and groups them together. I think that's a good one to print out. And then I also created for my own studies a one-pager where I put all the muscles that we pretty much, everything we need to know through even the higher anatomy courses on one sheet of paper or on one sheet. And I have that downloaded on my iPad because I can zoom in and I make it big, or on my phone. So that's another one that I think might be helpful to some of you guys. Muscles and bones are my topic that I like the most. So I think it's going to be a very exciting section, but also not intense in terms of that I make you study too many details, because I'm not for that. I'm against that. A lot of textbooks talk very minutely. Oh, the muscle's attached right exactly here. I'm like, the muscle is attached here, and all these muscles are attached here. So it's not like you don't trip over detail, hopefully. But having said that, I try to make it very palpable that it's not like just a list of muscles, but for example, I tell you all the muscles that attach the shoulder blade to the trunk, and we talk about it from that perspective. And then what muscles would grab the arms and hold it into the shoulder blade, and does it make logical sense, and why would it make logical sense? Versus just lists and lists of details to start to memorize. Having said that, any questions? I think we can quit for tonight.
All right, thank you.
Thank
Thank you so much. Do our other stuff. Enjoy it. Thanks for paying attention.
Bye.
Being part of it.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Okay.